Tom Bower has never been the type of biographer to avoid tough or controversial topics. For years, he has dug deep into the untold layers of royal life. Yet even he acknowledges that few subjects have shocked him as much as the rumors surrounding Doria Ragland, Meghan Markle's mother, and the role she may have played in Prince Harry's troubled decline. Behind the polished Netflix smiles and perfectly staged interviews, Bower hints at a second narrative, one drifting in the background, full of secrets, tension, and past pain resurfacing when it shouldn't. His investigation raises the possibility that Doria's presence in Harry's life went far beyond simple emotional support. He characterizes it as subtle, intentional, and unsettlingly reminiscent of patterns he's seen before. Bower's commentary hints that Doria's history may be more complex than the polished image often presented to the public. He alludes to past associations, old social circles, and lingering rumors that, in his view, raised eyebrows. For some observers, those hints seem to intersect uncomfortably with Harry's own candid discussions about his struggles, creating a narrative filled with speculation rather than clarity. Because even though Harry publicly insisted that stepping away from the royal family meant freedom, the details he shared painted a very different picture. Nights experimenting with psychedelic mushrooms, smoking weed while Meghan slept, and a lingering emotional haze he never seemed able to shake off. Once Bower connected these threads in his analysis, the tone of the story changed. It no longer resembled the picture of a prince finally breaking free. Instead, it began to resemble a man trapped between two strong forces, one rooted in the trauma of his upbringing, the other seeming to know precisely how to keep that pain alive. To see the full story, we need to go back to Harry's first interviews after stepping away from royal life. He talked about finding peace, balance, and a fresh start in California. Yet if you paid attention, the cracks were already showing. His words carried hope, but his eyes and demeanor revealed something else entirely. A man restless, disconnected, and quietly wrestling with what lay beneath the surface. In time, Harry openly confessed to experimenting with psychedelic mushrooms, not through tabloid speculation, but in his own memoir. He detailed hallucinatory experiences, mushroom journeys, and late-night marijuana sessions, framing them as part of his personal therapy. Yet for many observers, this wasn't a story of healing. It read more like a search for escape. Then came the pressing question: where was Harry getting these substances? California law requires a medical prescription for certain drugs, and Harry never mentioned having one. Naturally, speculation started to swirl. If it wasn't medically sanctioned, who was supplying him? Who was keeping that late-night haze alive? That's when attention began to turn toward Doria Ragland. In his interviews and writings, Bower hinted at a complex past involving drugs, allegations, not confirmed facts. At first, the suggestions sounded improbable. Doria, the soft-spoken yoga instructor, the calm spiritual presence supporting Meghan's public persona, could she really have ties to that world? Bower's insights prompted people to look closer. Doria had always been around, but in a way that was almost invisible, quiet, composed, and some argued strategically placed. And intriguingly, her presence in Harry and Meghan's household seemed to intensify precisely as Harry's emotional balance began to falter. Coincidence? Or something more deliberate? Harry himself recounted nights spent outside, rolling joints alone while Meghan slept inside. That detail sparked an unsettling question. Who was aware? Who permitted it? Who looked the other way in a household with two young children? These weren't just whispers from tabloids. They circulated through social circles, online forums, and among longtime observers of the family. According to Bower's perspective, Doria's role went far beyond that of a supportive mother. It was calculated, controlled, and quietly commanding, a presence that shaped the environment more than anyone realized. Bauer hinted that if Doria did indeed have experience with the drug world in her past, she would know exactly how substances could be used, not just for fun, but to influence emotions and behavior. A mind dulled by fog is far easier to shape, steer, and control. Then the story took another turn. Harry's memoir openly recounted his drug use while living with his children, and soon whispers began to circulate, unconfirmed but persistent, that child welfare authorities had taken notice. Whether those inquiries were blown out of proportion or misinterpreted, one thing was undeniable: Harry's own words had raised serious questions. Perhaps the most unnerving speculation was that someone inside the household might have been the one to raise the alarms, not out of spite, but as a calculated move to protect themselves. In Hollywood, image is everything. And when a story demands a villain, Harry, increasingly vulnerable, emotional, and confused, fit the role perfectly. Following this period, Doria noticeably stepped away from the public eye. Her appearances became rare, her presence almost invisible. Observers suggested it wasn't just retreat, it was the completion of her role. Her work, in a sense, had been done. Now, Harry presents a strikingly different picture. Gone is the confident, rebellious prince. In his place stands a man uncertain, conflicted, and weighed down by invisible chains. The very freedom he once claimed now seems overshadowed by the subtle forces that shaped his every move. If there's even a hint of truth in Bauer's observations, then Doria's influence might not have been purely maternal. It could have been calculated. A quiet, almost invisible force shaping Harry's vulnerabilities, steering his isolation, and leaving him reliant on not genuine healing, but on those controlling the story around him. And now, with fresh reports continuing to question his stability and path, one question remains at the heart of all the speculation. Was Harry ever truly being supported, or was he precisely where others wanted him to be? Only time will lift the fog and reveal the full truth behind the carefully constructed facade.